Hi, what's going on, guys? It's the Pancake Spy. The next Versus series, and I know people are gonna hate me for this. R- Mare Sue versus Ahsoka Tano. Now, I actually have a new name for Rey, and it's Rey Sky Platy, which is a mix of Skywalker, Palpatine, Plot, and Nobody. In other words, Rey No Plan. We're gonna refer to Rey as Rey No Plan throughout the rest of this versus video. So Rey No Plan as of The Rise of Skywalker versus Ahsoka Tano as of Star Wars Rebels. So now we are gonna do the same. How do we do it? Analysis as we did with Kylo and the Inquisitor. But we're actually going to be doing numbers for where I rate them, like for strength, speed, endurance, lightsaber, force powers, and everything. So tier 10, your god tier, like god tier. Tier 5 is average, and tier 1 is just bad. Like you can't even. You're like Jar Jar with a lightsaber, like dropping it out of your hand, like. Ooh, 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 ooh. So yeah, we're gonna be doing kind of like number rankings. Again, all of these fights are going to be on fair ground. I forgot to mention that in the Kylo versus Inquisitor fight. It doesn't really matter what setting. Rey's Force Dyad will not be helping her in this fight. Also, neither will her plot armor. So, take that. Yeah, you don't have your plot armor this time, Rey. I hope you can take a fan favorite. So, if you didn't know, I'm going to try and be as objective as possible. If you didn't know, I really hate Rey. Rey, No Plan. She's actually my least favorite Star Wars character ever. So, yeah. I'm still going to be objective, and I'm still going to be nice. Also, if you didn't know, I think you probably do know, but I really, really, really like Ahsoka Tano. But I'm not going to let my opinions on those characters get in the way. So without further ado, let's begin. Alright, so starting out with Rey No Plan. Strength-wise, I give her a tier 6. So she has been able to keep up with Kylo and the Praetorian Guards. But, apart from that, she hasn't really demonstrated much. Like, Kylo did overpower her in all of their fights. On Starkiller and on the weird Endor planet. She was overpowered by him. I mean, she's shown capable strength, but nothing really too crazy. Speed-wise, I'd give Rey about a 7.5. I mean, she was pretty agile. I mean, she was able to jump over the massive waves during her final duel with Kylo, and she was able to somewhat evade the guards with the Palpatine's, or not Palpatine, Steve Palpatine's royal guards. She was able to match them while they all circled her and deflect all their bullets, and she was able to keep up with the guards. So, she's capable. Endurance-wise, Rey's... I don't want to call her average, but, I'd give her about, a very low 6. Just like her strength, she's a little above average, but I mean, it didn't take much to take her out. And the thing is, she never got the chance to get hurt in the sequel trilogy. She never got hurt, once. She got hurt maybe once or twice, but, a critical hit, she was down, instantly. But most of the hits she ever took, so she's a little above average, but not by much. Okay, so as a lightsaber duelist, Rey's kind of tricky. I'm gonna give her a tier 6.5. She was able to take on Snoke's guards, or 3 of them at least. She was able to hold up against Kylo Ren, but Again, just like Kylo, Rey is really inconsistent. I mean, she goes 2 movies with no training and is winning every time, yet the one movie she does have training, she loses both of her duels. I don't know. I find that really weird. I see that as J.J. Abrams trying to retcon Rey being a Mary Sue. Didn't do a very good job of it, but still tried. But yeah, and again, she only has a year of training, so yeah, she's capable with a gun though. So force abilities, okay. In my personal opinion, I put Rey at a tier 7. The reason I put Rey at a tier 7 and not a tier 10 is she's above average. I mean, she was able to hold the ship in the sky and then blew it up for some weird reason, but she has still been outmaneuvered by Kylo Ren. She has still been overpowered by Kylo. So, she's about a low tier 7. She does have the whole force healing trick, aka the force power known as plot armor, but yeah, I mean, apart from the force healing and that was more of a weakening thing for her, and she has been ragdolled by Snoke and Palpatine, which is Palpatine, which is, that's a good thing. Palpatine should be ragdolling her. Snoke should be ragdolling her. But even Kylo was able to force freeze her and was able to employ his force abilities against her much more than he should have been able to. So that's Rey. That's her force abilities. Tactical ingenuity, she's about a 5. She's on the same tier as Kylo. Rey does not think. She just fights. Again, she's a barbarian. In some ways, she's even worse than Kylo. I mean, she just runs around screaming, hacking with her lightsaber like a maniac. So, yeah, she does not think. She doesn't think at all. So, yeah. And then in terms of a gear, Rey uses Anakin's lightsaber and she has a blaster. So, there's Rey. Alright, moving on to Ahsoka Tano as of Star Wars Rebels. Alright, so strength-wise, I'm gonna give Ahsoka about a tier 7. Pretty low tier 7, but a tier 7. She's been able to hold up against the strength of General Grievous, Maul, and Darth Vader. So, she's been able to keep up with her strength. She hasn't been able to overpower any of them. Well, she did have enough physical strength in Siege of Mandalore to throw Maul through the window. So, that was a pretty decent showing. And she's also beat up Trandoshan warriors without her lightsabers when she was a mere Padawan. So, she's pretty capable. So, I'd give her a tier 7 for strength. Speed-wise, Ahsoka is a solid tier 8. She is incredibly agile and very acrobatic. Very, very good. I mean, she's been able to keep pace with Maul, who stage managed 2 Jedi and was a very skilled duelist. She has been able to just leap incredibly far distances with force augmentation. She is really impressive in regards to her speed. In terms of her endurance and durability, she is probably a 7, like her strength. She's been knocked out more than any other Star Wars character, but I mean, she has survived blaster bolts. She has survived being electrocuted. She has survived physical combat. She survived being pretty close to a grenade explosion. She survived being collapsed in a Geonosian cave, and she survived being chucked off of force pushed off of the Malachor temple, and still was able to use enough speed to get up in a matter of moments or minutes and catch Vader by surprise. So, her overall physical rating is a high 7.5, low tier 8 for me, so that's her physical performance. As a lightsaber duelist, I put Ahsoka tier 7.5. Ahsoka did have unlike Rey, she did have a very consistent growth. She's been able, although she wasn't able to defeat General Grievous or Saj Ventress, and she struggled heavily against Barasafi, later in life, she was able to keep up with Siege of Mandalore, Darth Maul, and she is ragdolled two low-level Inquisitors. They were pretty bad Inquisitors, but I mean, she did pretty damn well against them. She ragdolled them. And then with Vader, she gave him a very, very good fight and challenged him to the point where he couldn't beat her out of technical skill and just had to use brute force, which is saying a lot. Ahsoka is a user of Form 4 Taru, as well as Jar Kai dual blade fencing. She's also skilled in Form 5 Xian, which is the Form 5, which is why she uses the reverse grip. And she's also pretty skilled with Gemso, and she has a little bit of knowledge of Nyman, but she doesn't use it often. She's also very capable in unarmed combat, so yeah, Ahsoka is pretty high level when it comes to combat. Alright, in regards to her force abilities, she is a solid tier 7. She landed a force push on Darth Vader. So, yeah. But apart from being very good with force pushes and pulls, she's been able to telekinetically push blaster fire away against Trandoshans. She's demonstrated use of the force choke, but she hasn't used it very often. Her force augmentation is just insane. So, yeah, she's been able to reach out in the force and try and figure out how powerful her opponents were with the force. So that's pretty cool. Her head modules allow her to have very good sense powers. She can use the Jedi mind trick. So, again, Ahsoka doesn't have a lot of really, crazy advanced powers, but her knowledge and application of simple force powers make her really, really advanced. Also, she has the lightsaber thing in Siege of Mandalore where she spins them around her and cuts a hole down, which was pretty cool. So, in terms of tactics, Ahsoka is a very good tactical thinker. As a Padawan, she was able to come up with a tactic that Grand Admiral Thrawn would use decades later. So that's pretty good. But in terms of lightsaber combat, she's kind of like Rey, but she really just fights. She doesn't really think. She's definitely not as bad as Rey. She's definitely more aware of her surroundings. Unlike Rey, she has made much better use of her physicality, her force abilities, and her environment. No doubt from Anakin Skywalker, who was really good at doing that. So, I would rate her about a tier 6, 6.5. And then in terms of her equipment, she wielded two slightly curved-bladed, white-bladed lightsabers, which just look awesome. Alright, so now to the comparison and then the verdict of the fight. Alright, so strength-wise, I'm going to give it to Ahsoka Tano. Rey can definitely contend with Ahsoka. She can hold her own, but, yeah, Tano she just has better showings of, she's kept up with stronger opponents than Rey and did much better. Speed-wise, it's not even a contest. Ahsoka dominates. Rey is agile, and she's quick, but Ahsoka has just performed some insane acrobatic feats. Yeah, she's just had so much better. So, in terms of durability, Ahsoka again takes it. Ahsoka took a lot of punishment in the Clone Wars. The most pain Rey ever felt was a scratch to her arm by a Praetorian Guard, where, Ahsoka has taken some pretty crazy hits, and even more than that, kept fighting through those crazy hits. So, she has that going for her. Plus, her head modules will allow her to sense nearby surroundings, even without the Force. So she has that biological edge. So physically, Ahsoka gets the edge. Lightsaber combat, it's going to Ahsoka. Rey is an inconsistent, really weird duelist. Basically, all of her victories are due to plot armor. Like, her duel with Kylo is really just plot armor. Her victory against the one Praetorian Guard is basically plot armor. And all of her other fights are losses. So, yeah, where Ahsoka, without plot armor, has contended with Siege of Mandalore, Darth Maul. Okay, yes, Darth Maul being captured was plot armor, but the actual duel itself was pretty fair. And she's also contended fairly with Darth Vader. Sure, she lost, but Vader and Maul are much better opponents than Kylo Ren and Praetorian Guards. So, alright, Force abilities. This is kind of tricky, because Rey has more advanced powers, like Force Heal, Sutamentus, and has been able to lift the ship. But Ahsoka just makes way better use of her Force powers. Both of them have been able to hold ships in the sky. Both of them have been able to keep a starfighter from escaping. And both ships were of pretty similar size. But I mean, this is a more powerful Ahsoka. That was a less powerful Ahsoka who did the feat that Episode 9 Rey did. Rey's going up against a stronger Ahsoka. So, for me, I'm going to give Ahsoka the very slight edge, simply due to the fact that she just has more... I mean, she force-pushed Darth Vader back. She has force-pushed General Grievous back. She pushed back Asajj Ventress as an apprentice, like first year of the Clone Wars, pushed Asajj Ventress back. So she is pretty capable. So Ahsoka gets the edge, though she is challenged there. Tactics, it's going to Ahsoka. The fact that Thrawn was using tactics that she used were pretty good. Add to the fact that while she is more of a barbarian than a tactical thinker, she makes pretty good use of her environment as well as herself and her Force abilities, where Rey is just a screaming buffoon who swings her saber around like a lunatic. And in terms of equipment, I'm giving it to Ahsoka. The only reason is due to the fact that she has a second lightsaber. Rey's blaster could help her out, but I mean, like, Ahsoka can just deflect the blaster bullets. But it doesn't really matter, because, I mean, it doesn't really matter. So, yeah, if no one else noticed, Ahsoka got all of the edges. She got all 5 edges. Rey didn't get a single one. Now, again, I'm being objective here. I am not being critical because I don't like Rey. I am being objective here. But, guys, I think the whole Rey being a Mare Sue is, it might not... I don't think she's a Mare Sue. I think she's a Disney princess. Which is just about the same. She's loved by everyone. She's perfect from the get-go. But as a combatant, she's not very good. She's actually, like, take her fight by fight, she's pretty bad. Meanwhile, Ahsoka is the complete opposite of a Mare Sue. She starts out as a very unlikable character and then becomes amazing. And again, that goes in her combative growth. She wasn't perfect from day one as a combatant. She grew throughout constant war and constant experience facing different opponents, and got better and better with each fight until she reached that level where she could keep up with Vader and Maul. So, yeah, but anyway, so as for how this fight would play out, winner is winning 9 out of 10 times. No plot armor, the winner wins 9 out of 10 times. Rey would be the one initiating this fight. She'd be swinging at Ahsoka. I think Ahsoka would do what Kylo did and kind of like dodge a few before drawing her sabers. she would probably the two would probably trade strikes going between offense and defense. Um, Rey would probably be attacking more, and Ahsoka would probably be defending. But Ahsoka's use of her unarmed combat and her acrobatics would start to push Rey pretty far. Um, Again, Rey would tend just try and keep pace. Maybe she'd get a little better, but Ahsoka would just be integrating everything into just everything. And eventually, I just don't think. I think eventually, Rey would do the exact same thing she did against Kylo as she did Ahsoka. She'd just burn herself out, just trying to break through an opponent's defenses that she can't break out through. But instead of Kylo just block, 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 Ahsoka is going to be dodging, evading, and countering with kicks, lightsaber strikes, force pushes, throws, everything. And Rey would be taking more injury than she's used to, and she'd probably just pass out just taking injury. So, yeah, with that all said, I declare Ahsoka Tano the victor. Well, guys, that was a second match. Again, this matchup wasn't really made because I thought it was a good fight, but rather because I wanted to make a point that Rey isn't as good as everyone thinks she is. I mean, combatively, at least. And to try and say she's not a Mary Sue as a combatant, she's just one as a character. But, yeah, I knew from the moment I considered this matchup, Ahsoka was going to dominate. So, yeah. If you want to see Ahsoka in an actual fight that she's actually challenged, yeah, you can leave an opponent down below. If there's any versus series you want to see happen, I'll put them down below. If there's a character you want to see, put them down below. It doesn't even have to just be Star Wars. It can be like Marvel or Harry Potter or Lord of the Rings or any of those franchises. I'm most familiar with Potter, Marvel, and Star Wars. So, but yeah, I'm open to all suggestions. So, alrighty. This is Pancake Spy signing off.